Hey guys, what is going on? Shadow of Nexus back here with another video, and we gotta talk about ratings in video games, where people will say, hey, a 7 out of 10 is a bad score. I have never really understood this. I mean, look, if I say like something like, oh hey, Switch 2 Welcome Tour is a 7 out of 10, okay, a lot of people would be like, oh hey, that's just overrating the game. But if I say something like, let's say, for example, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is a 7 out of 10, a lot of people would be like, what? Yo, you serious? The game's a 7 out of 10? So then what game's a 10 out of 10? So like a lot of people just as the 7 out of 10 score, I would say, don't really see the difference here and will basically be like, oh hey, you know, you're giving this game a 7 out of 10. That means that it's a bad game. Like, what's the problem with it? Is there a lot of issues with it? I think this whole rating scale is absolutely insane, okay? I don't really understand why a lot of people are just like, oh hey, I want to give this game a 8 out of 10 and it's just a mediocre game. Like, most games ever created are not a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. I think a vast majority of games are going to be around that 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10 mark, okay? So when it comes to games like, let's say for example, I know I have said this before, Claire Obscura Expedition 33, I would say it's a good game, but I don't think that the whole experience is that good. So I would give that game maybe like, let's say, a 6 out of 10. And a lot of people would be like, oh hey, how are you gonna give this game a 6 out of 10 when outlets like IGN went ahead and they gave it, you know, a 9 out of 10? So like, what is up with this, guys? Like, look, when we're talking about a 7 out of 10 score, I think that this whole 7 out of 10 score is just completely misunderstood, okay? I'm not saying that, oh hey, the game is bad. I'm not even saying that the game is amazing, or it could be amazing in some parts as well, right? But it's just not a whole consistent experience, okay? So like, for an example, okay, like my quarrel, my problems, my qualms with Zelda Breath of the Wild, okay, is the whole weapon breaking mechanic. If the whole weapon breaking mechanic was not in Zelda Breath of the Wild, I think I would really like that game, okay? But now look, if we look at a game like, let's say for example, Elden Ring, okay? Elden Ring, there's no weapon breaking mechanic or anything like that as well. I think that the open world is great. I would probably give Elden Ring like, let's say, an 8 out of 10, okay? I think it's a great game, but there are definitely some problems like the camera, and there's also some other problems as well with like objectives and stuff like that not being quite as clear. It is still a good game though. I do really like the game, and I have to say, guys, that when I say that the game is a 7 out of 10, I'm not saying that it's a bad game. I'm not saying that it's like a fantastic game. I am just saying that it is a good game that is worth your time, but don't expect anything mind-blowing, okay? At least not at a consistent scale. If we're talking about, like, let's say for example, a game that is a 9 out of 10 or a game that is a 10 out of 10, even though I think that there are very few games that are even anywhere close to a 10 out of 10, in my opinion, okay? At the end of the day, this is all the other person's opinion, okay? If someone came up to me, okay, and they were dead serious about giving the game Bad Rats a 10 out of 10, I would be like, okay, here, this is very interesting. I would like to know why this guy gave this game a 10 out of 10, and I really want to know, like, you know, the whole thought process behind it, okay? This whole thing with reviews where they're being curated and, you know, like, basically just being out there for the purpose of being out there, and not really, like, you know, thinking about the thoughts and stuff like that, and saying, oh hey, why I like this game here, why I don't like it. When the likes and the dislikes, they don't balance properly, guys, I have to say that this is basically why I cannot trust game reviews anymore. Because if every single game is going to be a 9 out of 10, every single game is going to be a 10 out of 10, I can no longer trust these anymore. Like, okay, here, I'll give an example, okay? Donkey Kong Bonanza, I have not put my review out for that game yet. I do want to make a review on it. Probably, I don't know exactly when I'm going to make it, but I do really want to make one, okay? So yeah, whenever I go ahead and I make one, this is kind of a little bit of a spoiler, but I don't think that the game is a 10 out of 10. I do not think Donkey Kong Bonanza is a 10 out of 10. There's a lot of issues with the game, okay? But look, I'm not going to say that, oh hey, the game sucks, and I'll give it a 7 out of 10. A lot of people are just like that. They're like, oh hey, I'm going to give this game a 5 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10. And just say, oh hey, the game sucks. Now look, okay, in my opinion, okay, and this is how mathematics works as well, right? 50% is half, okay? So 50% by default is a pass, okay? 50% is a pass. If you are saying that a game is bad, why not give it, like, let's say for example, a 3 out of 10 or 2 out of 10? Or, you know, if it's completely awful, it is completely unplayable, go ahead and give it a 1 out of 10. Or you can even give it a 0 if it's not even functioning at all, okay? Game reviews are literally all over the place at this point, guys, and I have to say, this is really why I can no longer trust game reviewers like IGN, like GameSpot, and like all these other independent reviewers and stuff like that, okay? This is where I usually go to try to see if my opinions and stuff like that line up. Now, look, not every single person is going to like what I like. Not every single person is going to like what you like. So look, if people are saying, okay, hey, this game is bad, okay, and you really are interested in this game, give it a shot. Give it a shot, guys. Because look, I played Mafia: The Old Country recently, which I actually have to make another review on that as well. Just trying to figure out DaVinci Resolve, but you know, whenever I go ahead and I figure that out, I should be able to make a review on that as well. I have to say, guys, I mean, Mafia: The Old Country is a great game. People saying that the game sucks have no idea what they're talking about, okay? Now look, is there a subjective or objective opinion on like, okay, hey, like this game is good, this game is bad? I would say yes in some terms. Like, let's say for example, if we're talking about review sites, those review sites are usually all within, you know, like a couple points of each other, I would say, when it comes to the review scores. But when it comes to independent reviewers, I would say really no. Because look, I could give a game, like let's say for example, and I know this is gonna make a lot of people mad, okay, that, oh hey, how dare you give this game such a low score, okay? I would give the original Last of Us a 6 out of 10, okay? I think that the game is good, but it does absolutely nothing original for me, okay? I know a lot of people, they are in love with the story, they love the characters, but look, for me, I have to say that it's just not that amazing, okay? And look, if I was to go ahead and give some game a 7 out of 10, or to give this game like a 6 out of 10, for example, publicly, okay, I would be getting backlash after backlash after backlash, okay? This has nothing to do with, I know a lot of people, they say that this is rage baiting, and me saying, oh hey, I don't like this game here, or I really like another game here, like let's say Switch 2 Welcome Tour. I've told a lot of people I think Switch 2 Welcome Tour is a 7 out of 10 game, but a lot of people would just be like, oh hey, it's no way it's a 7 out of 10 game, man. No way it's a 7 out of 10 game. How are you going to say that this game is a 7 out of 10, okay? First of all, it's my opinion. I think that the game showcases the Nintendo Switch 2's hardware features and software features very, very nicely. So I would definitely go ahead and I would give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's a fun little game that you can, you know, learn about the Nintendo Switch 2. It's an awesome learning tool. But now look, okay, when it comes to other people and other people's opinions, I have to say, guys, like if I was to give a game a 7 out of 10, a lot of people would be really, really mad. Regardless, okay, because like if you really like this game, okay, oh, you're like, oh hey, this game's a 10 out of 10, I love this game. Clair Obscura Expedition 33. I've heard a lot of people say, oh, hey, that game's a 10 out of 10, man. That game's a 10 out of 10. If I go into that conversation and I be like, oh, hey, this game is okay, you know, it's fine. I really like the combat system. I don't really like the story that much. I think that the game kind of falters in the third act. You know, I don't really like how they went ahead and, you know, they changed up a lot of the stuff in the third act. Like, no, like, you know, a lot of people would just completely disagree with me, and you know what, that's completely fine. It's completely fine to disagree on someone for their opinion. But now look, when it comes to you being able to understand, okay, their opinion and their thoughts and how they went ahead and they formed their score, okay, if you cannot respect me giving Clair Obscura Expedition 33 a 6 out of 10, then why should I respect you going ahead and giving Clair Obscura Expedition 33 a 10 out of 10? Okay, like, there has to be mutual understanding, guys. Like, there has to be mutual understanding, and I think that we have completely lost mutual understanding. It is completely a shame, but we have completely lost it at this point. Because look, if I was to give, okay, let's say for example, I'm giving Call of Duty a 10, okay? If I gave Call of Duty a 10, oh man, okay, all hell breaks loose, man. I would never be trusted as a game reviewer, independent reviewer. It doesn't matter who I am, okay? Because the absolute rage, the hate that people have for Call of Duty is out of this world at this point, guys. Call of Duty, Ubisoft games, all this stuff here. Game reviews in general, okay? I know I've been talking about the whole 7 out of 10 at the beginning, but game reviews in general, guys, have just completely become an absolute joke at this point, okay? Like, whenever you see a game that's, say, From Software game, a Nintendo game, a first-party Sony game, you get a 10 out of 10. Now, how about Xbox, okay? Yeah, because there's Xbox tax, okay? A lot of people will not admit it, but yeah, there is Xbox tax, guys. Xbox tax is 100% real. Anyone who denies Xbox tax is not real, is not really aware of the gaming industry. I mean, look, if you need proof, look at the highest rated game of 2021. I'm not even going to say what it is because I want you guys to go look it up for yourself and see why this game did not even get nominated. Didn't even get nominated for Game of the Year, okay? That's all I have to say about the whole Xbox tax thing. But yeah, guys, I do not trust these game reviews anymore. For people to go ahead and give these astronomically high review scores, like a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 every single time, it's just like, oh hey, if I really want to like a game here, if I really want to play this game here, you know what, I'm going to give it my highest recommendation possible, okay? But now look, when every single game gets a 10 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, an 8 out of 10, you know that there's something wrong here, guys. Like, not every single game is going to be on the caliber of a 10 out of 10, a 9 out of 10, or heck, even an 8 out of 10, okay? Now look, when people are saying that, oh hey, I want to go ahead and I want to review this game and give it a 10 out of 10, you really have to ask them, okay? Was there anything wrong with the game? Do you think that the game does anything, like, excels at something that is way better than the other thing, okay? As another game, basically, right? So yeah, like, in my opinion, guys, if someone gives a game a 10 out of 10, definitely go ahead and ask them why they're giving it a 10 out of 10. We need mutual understanding again, guys, and I know this has been a pretty long video, but I really just wanted to talk about this whole thing here and why it's just really bugging me at this point. It's just really bugging me. I know I've been talking for almost 15 minutes here, but it's just been on my nerves at this point, guys. I think that the whole gaming industry is literally a sham at this point, because all they keep doing is giving games a 9 out of 10, a 10 out of 10, an 8 out of 10, when you should be giving games, okay, especially games that do not live up to the hype or do not live up to other people's expectations or your own expectations, a 7 out of 10, a 6 out of 10, maybe even a 5 out of 10, okay? These low review scores and stuff like that, need to start being used again. And I say low, like quote unquote low, because I don't think a 7 out of 10 is a bad score. It's 70%, guys. Like, what is up with this, man? But yeah, guys, what do you guys think about review scores in gaming? Do you think that a 7 out of 10 is a bad score? Do you think that it's a good score? Please let me know in the comments down below, guys, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.